Hey guys, I'm your host Smitha and welcome to Journey Podcast, your weekly podcast on transformational journeys. Hello everyone. Today I have a very special guest to me personally. I would say why it is. Her name is Eunice Nuna. She is an intuitive psychological counselor and empathic storyteller, mentor, and a life coach. Eunice graduated with BA in psychology and is currently pursuing master's in peace and development. She shares her story of women survivors of sexual violence who are thriving, liberated, and passionate to the end of cycle of sexual violence. She equips survivors to grow in self-dependency, leadership, and healing throughout her gift of counseling. Eunice is dedicated to giving all children and women the ability to protect themselves against all type of violence, including gender-based and sexual violence. When I mentioned why she is special to me is like, there were times where I actually went to her page, started digging into like the post that she has posted long back, but still they felt like so relevant to me. I got connected and hooked up with her page. There are stories that she mentioned over there. Few of them examples are like her starting her nonprofit organization, or a small inspiring story writing about an olive tree over there. All these posts were like so, if you look at this her page, you will feel like I needed this today. I wanted to hear something like this today. Those kind of connections for me in a personal level, I don't think I have got it from any other person that I have been interviewing so far. So I mentioned her like a very special person to me. Welcome to the show, Nuna.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So I would like you to start telling your story. It is so inspirational from where you have started and where you are today. I can't even express your strength or any of the things that you have gone through. You
Mhm.
have commendable strength that you can move people and you can actually inspire and motivate them to have a better life. So
Yeah, sure. So once again, my name is Eunice Nuna. I'm born and brought up in Kenya. Kenya is in Africa, and I grew up in the village. I didn't grow up in town, and it has been a long journey to where I am. And now I am an executive director. I started an organization called Wounded Healers Foundation in Kenya. It's an organization made by survivors of sexual violence. How we say it is like community of survivors of sexual violence,
wow.
mentors,
Okay.
counselors, and people who are passionate to see the end of sexual violence. But the key thing is led by survivors of sexual violence.
Hmm.
I started the organization after my own story. I'm a survivor of sexual violence, and I got a child out of it. It was a long journey for me to learn to understand who I am and to even come into contact with whatever happened to me, and to be able to raise my son as a child who did not ask to be born, to have that relationship with my son. So when I gave birth, I faced so much rejection, and I was going through so much, that the pain that even me, I did not understand what trauma is. I didn't know that that's what people say is trauma. I didn't know I was in pain. All I knew is that I needed, number one, to give birth to my child. And also I needed to, when I give birth to my child, the pregnancy will go. So people will not keep asking me who is the father of the child. So for me, the shame was the pregnancy. And I knew if I'm done with this, I'm good. I don't need to keep telling people this is my child. But after that, I realized, after I gave birth, I realized that I'm not healing. And I was like, what's going on? I suppressed everything and I acted normal until one man told me, I don't know why he told me that, but I always say that was my turning point, when he said, you are a strong girl. And the reason he told me I was a strong girl is because I read computer. Like, I didn't go to school to do computer, but I was able to figure out few things and do computer. But to me, that statement didn't mean the computer thing. It mean, oh, how strong am I? Somebody noticed that I'm strong, and it took me back to where I was. And at that the time, I knew that I needed help. Other than seeing the computer, it made me tear up what I was putting in the bottle. So I got help along the journey. people came through for me. I was so broken. And after I was in the process of healing, I started asking myself, wow, how many other people are going through what I have gone through?
Of course.
And I was like, a counselor. You said there's a lady who really supported me was a counselor, and I was like, you said you're a counselor. I loved how she spoke to me. I loved the humility, and I said, you know what? If I get a chance to go back to school, I'm gonna do what you've done, so that I'll be able to speak to someone else. That's how I learned there's a course that's called counseling psychology, and that's how I ended to doing counseling psychology. So I did counseling psychology with aim of helping other girls who are like me. And then along the journey, I realized, oh, wow, I can start an organization. What if we were 5 Eunices who have gone through this and they're willing to advocate? Because every time I would tell my story, I'll find someone coming to me and telling me, hey, I am a survivor.
Yep.
So that made me know by telling my story, I am touching so many other people. And I wanted it to be heard more and more and more, so that it can heal people. So I started my foundation, and I was like in a complete lost of sense. Like, how do even people start a nonprofit? When you start a nonprofit, you think of funding. Where is the money gonna come from? I don't even have money myself.
Yep.
How is this going to happen? But I was so passionate, and I knew it's gonna help other survivors. So I came up with the name of Wounded Healers, meaning we are wounded,
Of course.
very deep wounded, but at the same time, we want to heal other people. So I brought survivors together, and we were like, hey, we have to heal and start healing others. And that's how we came up with the organization. So the organization is for survivors. It's made by survivors for survivors. So basically, what I do is we tell our stories publicly. Like, I go and tell my story and find other survivors coming to me, and I walk with them along a journey. And because of me telling my story, I have like 11 girls who are survivors. So currently what we are doing it in the media way. Like, we want it, because I am in America right now, and my organization is in Kenya. So I want to bring the stories here, to bring story to whichever continent, so that people can identify with it. So we are doing storytelling program that I give a survivor a platform to talk about themselves when they have healed, when they have dealt with themselves, to just be vulnerable for another survivor. And I also do holistic. I came up with holistic as a counseling department where people just go there and they're helped one-on-one, whether anonymous or anonymously, whatever the
Amazing.
survivor is.
Amazing.
If only we get an email like, I am a survivor, even if someone is writing to us from India, China, wherever, I just want to follow up and ensure that, well, that person need to be better, need to be healed, need to have dignity again, because once dignity is gone, you feel worthless. There's nothing else that makes sense to you. So that's where we have all the counselors who are there. And then I train self-defense. The reason I train self-defense is because I was like, not that I blame myself, but I wish I had confidence, because what I went through that night was, I didn't have confidence. And even what I went through after was total lack of confidence. I think I could have reported. I don't blame a survivor when they don't report, because they go through so much. But I feel there's confidence that I can put to a child who has not experienced this. If I train a child what to do, and the confidence, when I say self-defense, is not, I'm not training people to fight or to, I say I give them an opportunity to fight, but I focus so much on confidence, building that confidence on someone.
100% agree that. And when you're mentioning that you had this experience, or like what happened to me that night, I should have had more confidence. Were you interested to explain like what has happened to you, and what is that turning point do you think, you thinking yourself that you don't have confidence?
What happened is, I was lured inside someone's house that I trusted, is an officer in Kenya. And
Hmm.
instead of, I saw security in him.
Hmm.
I expected him to protect me. So I became so naive
Hmm.
because he have protected me anyway. But I was like, nowadays, I think that when I got to his house, he started bringing other people inside, and doing all the things that they did to me that are very painful up to now when I think about them. But when he left me in his house, I saw everything. If I had confidence enough, I would run away. He said that I should not tell anybody. I did not tell nobody. But if I train kids right now to, even if you're threatened, there's nothing that's going to happen. You
Yeah.
need to say, they are going to talk.
Yeah.
And again, about confidence is we have the voice.
Hmm.
Like I train kids to use their voice, scream,
Yeah.
because this is the only thing that God has given us for free. So I train people to use whatever they have, use voice, be confident enough to face and say no. When you're told come, you say no, and you're not going to be threatened by things that maybe you have prevented yourself. So that's what I do, and I passionately train with a lot of passion. And when I do this, I train telling my story.
If I may ask, like, what was your age when this happened?
I was 17 years old. As I said, I was born in the village, and I just traveled to Nairobi my very first day in the city. So I had not seen anything. My
Hmm.
mind was that of a village girl, and coming to the city was total different things that I saw.
Were you in that situation for a period of time, or was it?
Yes, I stayed there for a whole week, and different people were coming in, and yeah,
Wow. Okay. Sorry to hear that.
it's okay.
It's not actually. I mean, I don't know how you are able to say it's okay, but it's not. Period.
Healing is a process, I would say. And for me to say it's okay, I'm saying it from deep inside my heart, because I have worked so hard
I know.
for myself to be here I am.
I know. Keep going. Sorry.
So as I was saying, I bring the survivors, and I have a mentorship program that's where we train self-defense, and a curriculum that we have developed as survivors from our stories, and how we would want people awareness to be created, because we come from all these different cultures who believe differently, and some cultures make the rape culture grow. So I always tell my people that we have to call a spade, not a small spoon. So once we go there, we talk, because our culture do not allow us to mention some words. People
Yeah.
are feeling uncomfortable, but not unless we call it the way it is. The kids are not going to understand.
Yes.
So we go to the field, the survivors themselves and all these other people who support us, to train the curriculum of, we create awareness, prevention, and we want to develop the mutual respect between the boys and the girls, that when they grow up, they are able to know this is wrong and this is right. This is what they say. And we also advocate for the other survivors.
Mm.
Like, we speak on their behalf. We accompany them to those who have cases in the court. We accompany them to the court to just show them we are here for you. You are not alone.
Mm.
And we are working on having a rescue center. That's something that is in the pipeline, and I'm believing that's going to happen, because once we're doing this in the field, I guess so many people who come to us and they're like, I'm a survivor, or it's happening from my dad, and they still live within the same house. So that person doesn't need counseling, need to be rescued first. And I don't have that house. I don't have that place to take them. So I would take them to my house, but now I moved here. So it's something that I still believe that's gonna happen, that we have rescue center. But now what I do, I try to work with other children's home. I take the survivors there, but I still feel that there's much more that we can do.
True.
And I have a team of people other than the survivors themselves. I have a team of people who really do a lot of outreach. We visit them to their houses, and um, we take food for them. With the COVID, it has been very difficult, but we're still doing how much that we can do. I think I spoke so much on that.
Keep going. You can divert the topic whenever you feel comfortable. That's fine.
And I personally, I am a life coach because I believe that it's not only sexual violence that people are struggling with.
Yes.
So many people are going through so much. And I always tell people this world need love. There's nothing else we need. It's only love. Because once we have love, we are able to love one another. If you love yourself, you're able to love one another. So I try to talk to people and trying to help them to have their better life, to live their best life. Because we have so many other challenges that we can't protect, but there's one thing that I tell people you can, is loving yourself.
Yeah.
If you're able to love yourself, anything else is not going to be hard. Because if you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, this is who I am, and I'm proud of who I am. I'm not trying to be like Eunice. I'm not trying to be like anybody else. This is who I am. If only I can love myself, I'm gonna love people from overflow.
Mm.
And my journey of resilience, I have resilience. I listened to another speaker who said resilience is a muscle that we are born with.
Yeah.
We just need to make it strong, strong, strong. That when you're down, you go and draw strength from it.
Yeah.
So I try to help people to work on that muscle when you're good or when you're not. So that when things are not working for you, you are able to go back and look at them, draw the strength from that muscle. And the gratitude, like I love speaking about gratitude, because sometimes you look at yourself at the end of the day, there's nothing you feel like you can give thank about. There's nothing.
Yep.
So I try to tell people like small things. If you can be able to write 5 things a day, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this. Don't blame yourself. I don't blame myself that I was raped. I don't blame myself that I've gone through so much to be here. I don't blame my parents. But I look at them and I'm like, thank you that they watched me go through that. And I'm able to tell them, I have confidence enough to tell them exactly how I feel. And also, we expect so much from outside world, you know? I believe every human has the energy that they need to become the best version. It's not about money. It's nothing. You have everything that you need. The only thing that you want is to realize that it exists in you. If only you can feel it, you are able to work on it. You don't expect happiness from nobody. Don't expect happiness from your husband. Don't expect happiness from your children. Because I talk to women most of my time. And women I meet carry so much burden, carry within so much about their husband, children, the whole community, work. I usually say a woman is like a computer, carries all the files inside the small brain. And I used to make fun of my mom, that my mom, when you say good night, everyone, and my mom is like, oh, I'm going to go early to bed today. Before she get to bed, she correct my dad's socks. A child dropped a cup. She picked the cup and take it back to the kitchen. She walk again. Oh, she realized this door has a stain. Want to wipe it. Get paper towel. And before she get to the destination, she has done so much. While my dad is just watching the TV with the newspaper. And he's gonna get to bed before my mom.
Yeah.
So women, and I love saying that's a strength that we have within ourselves.
100%.
It's not something to complain about.
Yep.
And handle so much. But when you're handling at the same time, understand that you're human. Understand that you can't do anything. When you need to realize when I need a break, when it's too much, and accept when things are not working, because that's the hardest thing. I find women coming to tell me issues about their children, issues about so many, and I ask them, who are you? If I ask that question to many people, they're like, who am I? It's a question that people have never been asked, and they don't have an answer. If I ask someone, who are you? The first thing they tell me is their name. Oh, I'm Eunice Nuna. No, that's a name that you're given. Who are you? They have no idea of who they are. And it hurts me so much, because they're like, they don't know who they are. They're already living other people's life, They're already existing in other people's life.
So
And
if I can ask you, like, who you are, so how do you put yourself to?
who am I?
Uh-huh.
I am this confident girl who I'm fighting for the change. I have change, and I fight so hard to keep my change. I'm not Eunice Nuna. Eunice Nuna is the name my mom gave me. But I know who I am, and I know what I want. And my child is not included in this, because my child has his own life. I really love him, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, my child need this and this and this is going. No, I brought him to this world. I've given him my best, and he need to learn to fight, to
Yes.
becoming the best version. And that's what us women, we are not able to do. We are not able to let our kids
Go.
go and fight. We are carrying our grandmother within us. We are grandmother, your father, your child, your uncle, everything is in here. There is not even a space for you.
So true. I 100% agree with that.
And when I talk to women and ask the other woman, who are you? Oh, I get all the funny answers. I'm the mother of 10 children. I think the self-awareness part, people are not aware of themselves. They don't know their needs.
Yes.
They don't know their feelings. Like, I've done psychology, and one of the hardest thing in humanity is to express your feelings.
I have a hard time. All the
Yes.
time.
And it
I agree with
comes from environment, it comes from how you're born, it comes from the culture. We live in a different way. Like if I said, how are you today? You're not I'm okay. That's
Yeah.
the answer that comes automatic. Because that's the culture that you are brought in. You are brought to say, we are okay even when you're dying inside.
Yes.
But if you ask me how I am, I'm going to tell you, no, I feel so sad today. It's a process that I'll have to learn that. I don't need to say, oh, I'm fine, I'm feeling so great. No, if I'm not feeling great. And it's get other people uncomfortable when you say you're sad.
Yes.
So people avoid that. People avoid making other people's life uncomfortable. You better be uncomfortable, but you don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable.
True.
And that's something that I really like talking about. Love yourself. Be aware of yourself. Know when it is too much. Know when you cannot take it anymore, and say it. Have confidence enough to say in a mature and humble way. If you're humble, even if you're saying the worst thing, like if you're losing a job today,
Yes.
I love how the HR communicates.
Yeah.
Losing a job is a serious thing.
Yes.
But HR is gonna call you and tell you, oh, you've been good, praise you, and say,
Oh, yes.
we regret that you're not going to renew your contract.
That's so true.
But maybe that person doesn't even regret. There's nothing to regret about. But because they want you to feel massaged, we work to massage other people's ego.
Yeah.
You forget about yourself.
Yeah.
And I believe if only we can work on ourselves, be aware of ourselves, be aware of our needs, and have a kind way to communicate it, we're going to have a good life, and you're going to have life that we are able to understand one another. And the other, like I tell, the hostility toward other people is self-contempt. If I'm hostile to you,
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong. It's me who has a problem. I'm
Yep.
just bringing it out because I have not dealt with ourselves. If you're able to deal with yourself, be positive in mind. Like I was training another girl today. I was talking to another girl today who was so sad about how teenagers and adolescents feel like everyone is against them.
Yes.
So she was telling me how her mother nowadays doesn't see anything good she does. She's always yelling at her when she comes, even if she tried to wash the dishes. And she feel her mother doesn't like her anymore.
Hmm.
And I was trying to help her because that stage for sure is a
Hmm.
difficult stage.
Definitely.
So I was trying to help her to, for the sake of yourself, because you can't change your mother, because you think your mother hate you, or you can't change that, but you
Yep.
can change yourself.
Yes. But people actually expect the change in other person, not themselves.
Yes, yes. So I was telling her to try and think. Maybe if your mother come today and yell at you, other than thinking bad, try to think something positive about her. Maybe you can tell yourself, oh, my mom yells at me. Maybe she had a bad day at work. You know, even if you know it's not true, tell your mind something, so that you can be able to handle the situation with more compassion.
Hmm.
Other than saying, oh, she hates me, she doesn't like me, say, oh, maybe my mother had a bad day. Maybe my mother is on her periods. That's why she's having these moods.
True. True. My son
That
says that now, actually. Whenever I get so mad at him, he'll be like, I know you need to take rest. I know it's that time of the month for you. You have to rest. Don't keep shouting at me, please.
that's a good one.
I laugh.
If only we can say that, other than carrying things in the heart. Because I meet people here, they tell me so many things. I'm like, I don't want to say they're simple to deal with, because maybe it's easy for me because I have done psychology and I've dealt with so much. But I listen to people, they carry so much that you're like, holy God, if only you can work on yourself, look at things positive from inside,
Hmm.
you are able to live a happy life and understand you cannot change. People complain. My client would complain about even a dog today woke up.
Hmm.
How you tell your mind is a powerful tool. If I tell myself that I was raped, I will live like a raped girl.
Yes.
If I keep telling myself someone took advantage of me and I don't have dignity, I'm gonna live that. I
Yep.
used to struggle. I used to struggle a lot because I didn't want people to ask me about my son and about the father of, like, when I'm trying a relationship and I meet a guy and it's, oh, you have a child? I'm like, yes. So who is the father? That question used to piss me off. And I used to kick everyone out whenever they ask me that question. And I sat down and I was like, I tried to wear a guy's shoes, and I was like, even me when I'm meeting someone and have a child, I ask, who is the mother of the child? Where is the mother? Did she die or something? So I sat down and I was, why am I angry? Not everybody knows me. It's not written, and that's the time I realized it's not written here that I was raped. So people can't see it, you know. And it gave me confidence, and I was able to look at it and I was like, oh wow, so I look like normal any other girl, right?
Now that you tell me that scenario that you get pissed off, even I have the same kind of experience, but for a different reason. Like at workplace or anybody that know me around, the first question they'll ask like, "Oh, what does your husband do? Where does he work?" I don't have a husband. I'm a single mom. Is there something wrong here? The minute they ask me, I feel like so withdrawn. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to see their face again.
Mm-hmm.
I was in that situation so bad. I can't even connect back with those people at that level normally saying at the max I can see their face and like have a half smile like okay, hi, that's it. I can't even talk beyond that point because it keeps going back to the same question like yeah, what does your husband do? Where does he work? Or like how long you're okay, all those things are my personal or like my closed compact things. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
anybody to even get in there to touch me or to ask me those questions. I know what you're talking about. Continue.
Yeah. You know, and those people, like I ask myself, those people, they don't even mind. Once you kick them off, they're happy with their life. But what happened to you? You hold them so much. I don't want even to see them for years. And they're not even aware.
Yes.
You're the one who is punishing yourself. I used to punish myself so much. I used to feel so bad. And I would hate someone for long
Yeah.
until I was like, which space do I even have in my heart to keep putting people? It's gonna get filled up and occupy the other space. So whenever someone would meet me and oh, you look so beautiful. Oh, you have a child? Oh yes. So who is the father? I would always be like, do you really need to know that? And I was like, oh yeah. Like if we're starting a relationship, like I need to know. And nowadays I don't find it difficult to say my
Yeah.
child my child was born in 2007 and I was able to have a baby. Do that if that scares you, go.
Yeah.
But that's the truth. So and I was like, nowadays I usually say I live a very happy life. And I'm a very free-spirited girl because I don't carry anything. Because I
Mm.
don't have that space. For many years I have carried that space and putting that burden down, it has costed me a lot of energy. And I don't want to have any other burden. If I meet someone who is very judgmental and want to make me feel down,
That
you
doesn't
know,
really.
I look at them and I'm like, you're dealing with so much for yourself. Go see a therapist, then come see me.
Yes.
Because I'm not sick,
Yes.
you would be having a problem. Because I told myself, I affirm myself every day. And I don't want someone putting me down. And I always let people know that I know who I am and I love it the way I am. So if you see a problem, maybe you have a problem. Of course, I accept the criticism. I have to get feedback from people, yes. But it depends with the feedback. Some people just want to give you feedback to make you feel bad.
Oh, yes. I've seen a lot.
So even if someone is giving me feedback, I listen with inner ear, like, where are we heading with this feedback? Do you want me to improve on something or you want me to feel down?
I know.
That's what I teach people because women and other people, we keep the wrong friends.
Yes.
We easily keep the wrong people in our lives. And it's so hard to read someone who is bad cop. That negative energy, the negative energy is always there, waiting to pinch, to
Yes.
pinch.
Yes.
I'm going to pretend to be a very good person. And then I pinch. And then I apologize, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
And that's where people go wrong. People do not know when it's enough to be said sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Set your boundaries. Know that when you cross this line, I don't need you. I need to be strong. You need to be strong for yourself and advocate for yourself. I advocate for me. If you cross my lines, I'm gonna tell you up front.
Hmm.
No,
Hmm.
that's something people is hard to get. It's so hard to find to have that courage to say because like your friends, you somehow want to keep them, you somehow don't want to keep them.
Everybody.
Oh, women, we are in a certain group of church, a certain group of doing something. We need to be together. I'm not going to. You
I
keep.
have seen all this drama too. Yes.
So I tell people, know yourself, know your boundaries. You don't need nobody. You don't need everybody. Because small negative energy that you allow in you is come inside and it bursts inside. It becomes something so big. If you allow yourself to be told something negative, when it gets inside, it's not that small. It becomes
Yes.
so big.
Yes.
So, how do you do it? I tell people, sit down today, write down, point, write down what does Eunice value in my life? What is Eunice's value in my life? When I meet Eunice, what do? We gossip. Oh, we talk about everything. If I meet because we have all kinds of friends. They are good friends, and those good friends are not many.
Yes.
And there is a way that we are wired in ourselves. We want to hear gossip. Gossip is sweet. When you don't know yourself and know that I don't want gossip and be confident to say I don't want gossip, you're going to continue enjoying and occupying your mind with that.
For no reason, yes.
For no reason. So I tell people, write down your friends, those people who you call your friends, and ask yourself, which value do I get from her? If I sent you a message today and say, oh, I have been kicked out by the landlord, are you gonna send me something, or you're gonna pray for me, or you're gonna meditate for me, or you gonna what are you gonna do?
Yes.
Or you're going to say sorry and then you cover yourself and sleep? You know, ask yourself, take your time. You don't need 1,000 friends. My friend asked me, do you have a friend? I don't have a friend. I do not have friend. I don't have a friend that I can say is a friend. Oh, everyone is my friend, and everyone is not my friend. I know everyone, the benefit that I get.
Yes.
If I need this, and I know when they come to me, I am able to help them in a certain way, because I don't want to keep a big number of people that I cannot handle. And I'm focusing on something. I'm focused on doing something. And when you keep so many people who give you idea. Let me first tell you, when I was starting my non-profit, that's the time I started thinking about the friends thing. When I was starting my non-profit,
What age were you at the time?
It's 3 years ago. I'm 31 years now. So
okay.
So when I started, I resigned from the work that I was working to start my non-profit, because I was not fitting in an employment, and it's a risk that I had to take.
Yes.
So I lost my job. I could not even pay the house rent. I had to bring my kid from the school that I was paying to cheaper school. I really went down.
Yes.
And that time I had, the dream was burning me. I want to do this. Something I usually say, it's not something that I thought for long. It's just something that flipped in my mind, and I knew I needed a non-profit. I knew I wanted to help people since a long time, but I didn't know how. I didn't know. I thought I would be looking for people and go and speak. I didn't think that I needed a non-profit. But when I slept one day, I was like, what's a non-profit? I don't know what happened, and I don't like saying that I had all these men thinking before. So I started Googling. Google has been my friend. I started asking Google. Before I started asking Google, I was meeting my friends and telling them, you know what, I have this idea. I want to support survivors of sexual violence. How about I wanted it to do with my friends.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to affirm me, but nobody was, even my closest friend. And I'm sure she's gonna watch this because she's always feeling bad about that now. So I could go to people, tell them this is what I want to do, and I didn't know how. I wanted people to give me idea. Nobody. All they said that organization, many people have tried it. It's not easy. I was like, holy God, how do I do this? So I started Googling. How do people start non-profit? I Google non-profit. I'm in Kenya. I see all the other countries. I'm like, wow. And they start talking about proposals. And I was like, what's a proposal? I even don't know how to write a proposal. So I worked in that corner. The picture that you saw on my Facebook is where I started. That laptop I was given by a friend, and it was very old laptop. I didn't have Wi-Fi. I used to tether my phone, buy bundles and tether. I lost contact even with my child. Like my child would come home with homework. I don't even have time because my brain was going like a machine. I tried to talk to my friends. They're not even interested. I would lose hope and start sending job applications. And nowhere I was called for a job. And I was qualified. I thought I was qualified. I was like, why are they not calling me? I tried to volunteer in different organizations. They were not opening. And I was wasting my few coins that I had to use for transport to go volunteer. I said, I'm going to sit down and do it. So I Googled and I did it. And I tried to talk to my friends, nobody. I don't have money to pay people. So I used to look for volunteers. Volunteer come because they think they are going to be money. Even myself, I don't have money to eat.
Yes.
So I used to sell eggs on the road so that I can feed my son and eat, find something to eat. So sometimes people will not buy my eggs. So at the evening, we'll just go home and eat all the eggs and sleep because we didn't make money. But what was in me was so powerful. My mom was so mad that I left working because I could not support her anymore. How do you resign?
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do something. What? Nobody, even my family. So I said, I'm not going to do it. I started watching YouTube, doing all this, using my money to buying data, looking for survivors. So how I started is that I gave up in starting nonprofit, and I said, because this is something that is in me, I'm going to sell eggs. Just like when I needed happened, people used to come to see me with a bread and milk. So I said, I'm going to start visiting people with bread and milk. The survivors that I know.
Yeah, okay.
So I used to go there, and then it was becoming interesting. Me going to visit them was good. So one guy said, I can make you t-shirts. I was like, t-shirts? I don't even have a logo. And he asked me for a logo. I was like, logo for what? So that's how I started. Resilience. Like I talk about resilience because I have felt it. Perseverance of so much. And things started falling. Like I usually say, when you have a dream, the nature just start bringing things to you.
I agree.
I just started having ideas, and when I Google, bring it.
Yes.
Oh wow! I talked to someone, they are willing to do it.
Yeah.
I look for volunteer. You're willing to do it. I was like, oh wow! So this is how it's supposed to happen. So I registered my organization. It took a year for me to get a certificate. So everywhere I was looking for money, and everyone would say, you have to have a bank account for the organization. I was like, how? I have to have a certificate. I was losing hope and picking it up and going up, continuing. So my worst time is I took volunteers in. Oh, I spoke the whole day. My God, I made tea in my house. My office was in my house, my small house. I made tea. I cooked for them with all the money that I had, and I sold my project out. And they gave me all the promises. Nobody ever talked to me after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. So I decided to do it alone. I have done it alone for 3 years. I just got people this year. I used to run it myself. I was the counselor. I was the executive director. I was the outreach worker with my son. My son even today tells me, Mom, you have to pay me because I was telling him, you are my personal assistant. I will be paying you $2 a month. Even today he calls and say, did you finish paying me my salary? Because he used to run up and down. So it's been a long journey. But when you have something, do not let it go. Do not let your power go. Do not allow lies, fear take away your power. Because it's so great if only you can be patient enough.
Yes. Yes.
Be patient. One step at a time.
Yes.
You're gonna get there.
Keep focusing and have the determination. You
Keep
will
focusing.
get
Keep the right people around you.
Yep.
Do not allow those people who are going to tell you it's hard in your life.
Yep.
Do not let them tell you. Focus. This is what I want. If you feel like coming, fine. But this is me and this is what I do. And that's what I have been doing all along. And I'm so happy that I am able to do that. And I believe if I am doing it, if only people have empowered me to be who I am, I can empower anybody else to become whatever. Because whatever you dream of becoming, you can. There's no boundaries. I have hit rock bottom many times.
True.
And as I posted, I hit rock bottom and I realized, oh, the bottom has a basement. And
yes. Come up.
So I believe if only people can be able to speak up, there's help.
Yeah. Yep. There is always help. There is always hope.
Yeah, there's hope. Anything can be done. I think that what I want to tell anybody and what I tell people is, please work to know yourself. Take time, 5 minutes a day.
Awesome.
Ask yourself, who are you? Don't get tired of asking that question. Please don't answer because of your title, your education, your nothing. Forget about all those things that you've acquired. Ask yourself, who am I before the education? Who am I before being a mother? Who am I? If you're able to work on that, you're gonna love other people. And love yourself, because you can only love people from overflow. Have a saucepan, a saucer. Serve yourself. And from this small saucer, give that love from there. But make sure yours is filled.
Yes.
Because once it's empty, you are not giving love, you're giving lies.
Yes. There is nothing for you to give anymore.
There's not, you cannot give what you don't have.
Yes. Yes.
And the world is a better place if only we can love ourselves and know our needs and know when to say no.
True.
If you're able to say no to your husband, to those intimate people around you, your family members, if you have courage to say no, you're going to live a very happy life. So set your boundaries, ask yourself, who am I? And that way you're going to have peace, because there's peace.
Okay, thank you for tuning in, and you can find me on all the socials at Smitha and the show notes for any resources mentioned. See you next week. Take care.